Welcome to the tutorial about Age of History 3. It will be just a general tutorial how to actually play this game. As you can see, I pretty much mastered the whole game except this Rebels. But let's begin with the tab on the left top side. This is our economy, our budget. If you click on the budget, we have a budget and we have provinces. In the provinces section, you can see your monthly income, and you can sort the provinces by their balance, expenses, or income. Nothing more here. In the budget section, it gives you a detailed monthly income breakdown. For casual players, the only metric which counts here would be taxation level. There's 3 taxation levels. On the lowest taxation level, you get unrest -5, monthly legacy points +25%, and research +5%, and a debuff to the economy. In the default taxation level, nothing much changes, and for the severe taxation, you pretty much get the reverse. Monthly expenses. The biggest 2 aspects here would be army maintenance and research expenses. This directly influences how effective your army is. I would always recommend you to have it in increased pay for the military when you're at war, and when you're not and you need desperate money, you will go into the most minimal pay. Same thing with the research expenses. The less expenses, the less research percentage is. The highest increased pay for the research is +25%. Of course, it shows you how much money you actually spend on your branches of governance. I would assume military and research costs, and province maintenance is also pretty important. Prosperity here only shows you either poor, default, or wealthy. I think that's the 3 metrics here, and they're affected by the general prosperity of your nation. In the loan section, you are capable of taking a loan, but I wouldn't recommend this, only if you're desperate in money. But you do get a substantial interest, and it does give you a monthly expense, and you cannot dictate how big the loan you want to get. Repay loan, yes, and take a loan. In the military section, it shows you your total manpower, and at the bottom it shows you how much monthly you get men. You can either hire mercenaries for cash. Here it shows you unassigned generals and how many generals in general you have. And this is your army limit. There are 3 types of units in this game. Conceptual units, I mean in that term, that there is first line, there's a flank, and there's support. Here are the specs of a unit, and if you want to create an army, you press create an army, you choose a province, for example Kiev, and if you press shift, you are able to create 5 infantry. I would always recommend you going for 150-50 style tactic. That would give you an advantage over an AI. And to create an army, you can press create an army. When your army is being created, you can always pin their army here, and it will show up on the top right corner. The bottom left, it shows you your army development, the morale of your troops, and the speed. Select provinces to occupy. What this does is it allows you to occupy provinces by selecting it and using your central button, your wheel button, to actually give multiple commands at the same time instead of clicking every single occupied tile you want to conquer. This is to stop movement. The reorganized unit army basically means that you can select divisions of 1,000 men and create a separate army which you need. I created a separate army from that big army with 10,000 people. To combine it back into one big army, you press Control and you click on the army you want to combine with, and you press Merge Units. You can also split units by pressing Split in half. That's pretty much it. You can also keep track of your army on the global scale by pressing the central button, the scroll wheel button, and now you can see your units all around the world. This is pretty helpful, and not only your units, but units of the enemy as well, if it's not hidden in the fog of war. In the technology tab, you can open the technological tree and see what you want to research. Those 2 buttons are pretty much the same. The only difference is that at the bottom here, it shows you advantage points, how many you have, and here is just the general civilization advantage screen. In this screen, you can choose perks for your civilization. You can either select military, administrative, or economic perks, which you want to focus on. To gain advantage points, you need to unlock a technology, and you will get an advantage point. Capital city, this is just the investment which you can make into the capital and actually improve it, nothing more. In this tab, you can choose the technologies which are available to you, and here you can see the list of units, all the units which you have. There's only 64 units in the whole game, and in the list of buildings, you can see all the buildings which exist in this game, except wonders. Wonders are in a different tab. For the civilization legacy points, they are used also, if you click on it, they are used to give you perks for your nation as well, from military, economic, administrative, or diplomatic advantages. In the alliance expertise section, you can increase your maximum alliances up to 3 alliances in total. To do that, you would need to spend legacy points. Diplomacy. Diplomacy points are basically used for anything that requires diplomacy or interaction between two states. And nuclear weapons, while we get to it, to construct a nuclear weapon, firstly, you need to create a nuclear reactor. To construct a nuclear reactor, you would need a technology in the research tab. Nuclear technology can be found in the nuclear of the nuclear power plant, which allows you to start producing nuclear weapons. The greater the level of the nuclear power plant, the atomic bomb cost decreases dramatically and the production efficiency also increases, which boosts your economic output. To create a nuclear weapon, you click on the mushroom and you can either confirm for only one-time order, or you can just press the plus button to continuously build more weapons of mass destruction. It takes 180 days to do so. It allows you to destroy your enemy's infrastructure and economy. To use an atomic weapon, you need to declare war. To declare war, you need to damage your relations to -30. When you do so, you are capable of declaring war. Bruh. Not in my case. To declare war, you need to damage relations or send an insult. Insult takes -30 legacy points and it takes your diplomatic points. When you reach a -30, you can declare war on your enemies. At the bottom here, it would show your allies and the allies of your enemy and the comparisons of the regiments which both of you have. When war is declared, to use a nuclear weapon, you can either use it from this menu by clicking on it and drop a nuclear bomb, and you can use it multiple times on the territory of your enemy. This allows to disintegrate the potential of your enemy. When you use a nuclear weapon, mostly it shows you all the negative effects which actually happen on it, which is population -65, economy -15, and devastation +50. That's the maximum, and army -40. Interestingly enough, a nuclear explosion does nothing to the assembled army of your enemy, and you cannot use a nuclear weapon on your territory. Speaking about your rivals, Rivalry does is it gives you bonuses such as monthly legacy and maximum manpower increases. If you click on the flag of your nation, you would be hit with this tab. Firstly, it shows you your religion. Secondly, it shows you the buff on the province maintenance, and it shows you your base monthly legacy points which you get from prestige. Furthermore, it shows you your leader's age and his name. In this section, you can always get an advisor for a specific task. For example, administrative, which gives you bonuses for administration. Economic gives you economic development bonuses, which you choose through finding an economic advisor which actually suits you. Innovation advisor, what it does is it gives you either a monthly legacy, unit defense, or regiment's limit, which is the limit of your army. Research per month could be increased here, and this is mostly it. And the military advisor basically gives you perks for your military, either siege effectiveness, army maintenance, or army movement speed, for example. By researching specific technology, you can increase the limit of your advisor's skill. The maximum limit is 7. If we go down here, this is battle tactics. This basically shows you what is your country orientated for. Is it orientated to defend, attack, or flanking maneuvers, for example? In simpler terms, you either get bonuses for attack or you get debuffs for defense. Or you can get balanced, which is neither. Arguably, one of the most important late game mechanics would be army controlled by AI. This is a very important tool. What it does is it basically gives the control over the military to the AI. And army color allows you to choose the color of your military units, from green to blue, for example, to yellow or black. In total, there are 15 colors to choose from. If you press on the orthodoxy or your religion, you can find the government tab. In this government tab, you can change your government type. For example, from a parliamentary republic to a monarchy, communism. For example, if we switch to communist, you can see the color changes and the flag also changes as well. You can also change religion, and the religion gives you a little bonus depending on what religion you choose. For example, Catholic. When you change religion, you would need to convert your people into a different religion. To do that, you would either go to religion here at the bottom and press convert all provinces. This would cost me $500,000. Here, it also shows you civilization stability and war various. To reduce this, you can use the reduce button, which basically takes away nearly 100 gold and 50 legacy points for every 5 points of the war variness. Furthermore, this also shows you aggressive expansion of your nation. If it gets over 100, you do get a coalition against you, which will hunt you down. Also here, it shows you revolutionary movements all around your country. For example, here it's almost 15%, and you can have a look all over the country itself. Furthermore, here you can create different nations depending on the country you started playing with. To form a nation, you press on the name, and you need to be at peace to create a nation. In the council, general secretary, we can go and have a look at all the events which are applicable to our nation. We could also use Encyclopedia, which talks about all of the aspects of the game. So if I miss something, you can always refer to here. And in statistics, you can see the statistics of the nation. For example, in my statistics, it is broken, but you can see the percentage of your total population, the growth rate, and the maximum manpower you can achieve. In the statistics, if you scroll down, you can also see how many wars you were in, how many recruited army regiments you have, how many generals you have, advisors you had, how many conquered provinces you have, how many buildings you constructed, and a little graph showing your prestige and balance. And in the setting menu, you basically go to the setting. Okay, puppet states. To create a puppet, what you need to do is release. To release a puppet, what you need to do is you need to press on the release a puppet and find a country which you want to release. For example, Afghanistan for me, and here you can choose what Afghanistan will get or will not get. For example, you can redraw the borders. For example, I don't want Afghanistan to have this. You can either liberate civilization, which will make the country free. You can play as the current released civilization, and what you can do afterwards is release a puppet state. When you release a puppet state, it is part of your sphere with the correct government ideology, the same government ideology you have. When you release the puppet, you can dictate what the tribute is from high to low, from high manpower contribution to low. You can also tell your puppet if it can declare wars or if it can't. In the more section, you can just use this. You can find a tutorial, which is pretty much Encyclopedia large goods producers. This shows you who produces the most amount of goods in the world. And here it just shows you general information about alliances, puppet states, defenses, pacts, and nothing more. Now, let's speak about missions. Missions are most likely the most useless thing in this game. It is part of this game. Those are missions which give you bonuses to your civilization if you do regular gameplay as your nation. For example, if you construct 4 administrative buildings, you will get some form of bonus. That's pretty much it. In the government tab, you can access the government straight away. You can also go into the capital, and in the capital section, you can move your capital. You can build up your capital city, which gives you monthly income and maximum research points per month, and province maintenance also. In the capital, decreases by 36%. To get the level 18, you need to research the desired technology in the research tree. Same with all the other branches of the capital. What military academy does is it increases the quality of your army. For example, it gives you plus 19 attack and plus 19 defense, but it also increases your regiment limit. Military Academy for generals, this is a bit different, but it's pretty much similar. It just increases the stats for your generals, which makes your army even more effective when fighting your enemy. And Supreme Court, what it does is it destroys corruption, and when corruption is destroyed, you do not get any debuffs from corruption. Speaking about laws, those are the laws which are implemented in your country. They can be changed easily by clicking on the land law, and you can change it from feudal to the most recent sustainable land use. If you want to increase the level, and it does not matter what level, taxation system, monetary policy, education policy, it does not matter. You need to go into the research tree, and the research does most of the things. And essentially it gives you specific bonuses for a specific task. Not more, not less. In the building section, you can build administrative, military or economic buildings. You can also build specialized buildings for a specific resource in here as well. For example, if I want to build a granary, I press on the granary and I have a look where it's not built. You can either click one by one, or you can hold the wheel button and select all of this automatically without actually focus on clicking. And there you go. I have invested the whole world with granary, for example. Economic buildings are basically split into economic buffs from production efficiency plus 10, economic gain plus 4. You could also get local growth rate, which allows your population to increase, thus increasing your monthly income, and in some rare cases also monthly legacy from solar panels, for example. In the military section, it focuses on the maximum manpower in your region, also the defense of your province. So for example, if you build a palisade in a given tile, what it does is it increases the defense of this tile, but ideally, this is not really effective, but you can also use walls to increase your defense in that tile, and it does increase maximum manpower, and even castles, for example. So in total, if you upgrade one whole tile with these 3 buildings, they will give you a defense of 9. This is quite substantial. You do need to remember where you actually put the defenses. The barracks give you maximum manpower past 100, and it does increase the local manpower as well. Training grounds does the same thing, but in a larger scale, same with the conscription center. The armory influences your economy, decreases the recruitment cost, and it does decrease your manpower cost as well. The administrative buildings mostly focus on administration, mostly focus on legacy points, and research. Tax efficiency, bomb shelters, which decreases your casualties from a nuclear attacks by 75%, and hospitals, which decrease death rate by 65% from any disease. That's pretty much it with buildings. In the next 5 tabs, the controls function the same. You can choose up to 9 actions, so up to 9 stacks of development, for example. This doesn't work if you use a wheel to increase the radius of your development, for example. So you would have to click in order to have the bonus of 9 times. You can also click multiple times to the action performed more than 9 times, for example. And in general, tax effectiveness increases your income from having efficient taxes from your population. The bigger the population, the larger tax efficiency would have. Economy. What economy does is it basically generates income on a wider scale, but it also generates the resources which are present on the tile which you are upgrading. So for example, if I were to upgrade the cheese production would be greater, thus the economic output as well. Infrastructure. What infrastructure does is it allows for more buildings to be built on a tile. To expand your tile building limit, you would build infrastructure, then you would build the buildings, and then you would increase the infrastructure again. The growth rate is basically how fast your population will increase. So here in Kiev, for example, I have a growth rate of 1,300. In the manpower tab, you can increase your manpower of your nation by increasing your maximum manpower, which is your total manpower which you can get. In reserve, you can increase your manpower per month as well through here. You can also increase province defense, and if I'm not mistaken, this also increases the army limit, which you have here, but it does take quite a lot of clicking and quite an investment. For core territories, it introduces ethnic nationality on the occupied lands. So for example, when I occupied America and assimilated them, the Americans would be pushed out and the Ukrainians slowly get the majority of population, which decreases the will for rebellion, for example, as happened here. And religion conversion basically converts your newly conquered territory, and it works pretty much the same as assimilation. Both of these do. Also, to recruit a general, you can just press on the blank general tab and recruit them straight away from there, for example. Also, at the bottom right, you can see the minimap, you can see map mode. So for example, here is the map mode where you can see who am I at war with and what are their relations. Furthermore, this is the terrain map. Doesn't really do much, it just shows you the type of terrain you're in. This is just the resources. This shows all the wonders around the world which can be built or are built, and population mode, and it shows you the population of the provinces with a little graph on the right. If you need more map mode, you can also just press on the province and hover over the desired metric, for example tax efficiency, and you can see on the map where the most tax efficiency is, or what's the growth rate on the map, or for example the unrest. You can also directly build by pressing on the desired province and pressing build, and here you can develop the province by introducing all of those buildings from the economy, also the military, up to administrative. When you reach the slot limit, what you need to do is to increase infrastructure, as mentioned before. Speaking about war again, at the bottom right you see the progression of your desired war. When you declared war or war was declared on you, you would see this progression and the country you're fighting with. When it reaches either 90 plus victory, then you win and you can make any demands possible. And if it decreases up to -90 from your side, this means that you lose the war. You can either surrender, white peace, or make a demand. Here it shows you the losses of both and the war weariness of both countries. To make a demand, you go into here and you have a couple interesting buttons. So firstly, you can choose the map mode from victory points to population to economy, and if you have limited points, you can actually see what is the most beneficial tile which you want to get. Speaking about demands, you can either use a brush to take as much territory as you want with the brush. You can press a brush again and it will turn into red, giving back the territory. You can ask for war reparations from that country. You can demand a puppet state, which will create a puppet state in the current borders which you put them in. You can change the government in their country. You can demand religious conversion, so they were the same faith as you. You can humiliate them. This is mostly done to get legacy points. In my opinion, it's very useless. Or you could demand military acts, which is also pretty much useless. If you don't want to use any of these demands and you just want to take the territory, what you want to do is you want to press suggest, demand provinces suggest. And what it does is it takes the provinces which you are capable of straight away. And in here you can also liberate territory, and you can subjugate the puppets of your enemy, for example, as well. When I'm referring to subjugate, I mean transfer the puppet. And then what you do is you enforce demand. You have a peace treaty and you have a couple lands which are not incorporated or assimilated. You do this like this. When this is done, the war is over. Speaking about diplomacy, if you press on the country, you can see their economic strength, their military. To see country's strength and interact with it through a diplomatic lens, what you need to do is you press on the country, and here you have a menu between interactions and diplomacy. In the diplomacy section, you can see what is happening between other states and that country. You can see the general information of what it controls, how big is their economy, what's their population, their religion, and their government. In the interactions tab, what you can do to declare war, here you basically have interactions between states. The first line is basically made to keep relations and improve them or decrease them. The second line, for example, rivalry, you can rival the nation. You can form an alliance with them if they are willing to. you can have a defense pact between them, which creates an obligation for both countries to defend each other. If somebody were to attack, a non-aggression pact is exactly what it means. Here you can demand military access or offer military access, guarantee independence. You can send them a gift, which will give a 1.25 opinion of you. You can also compare both civilization by clicking on this task and seeing who produces more or what. You can sell province, for example. To sell the province, you have to use this tab. For example, I want to give Abu Hamad to give that. You press on it and you confirm, and you give it to Canada. Share technology. What it does is it shares technology between two states, which allows them to increase technological development altogether. To do that, you need to choose a technology you want to share between each other. And I think Send a Spy is also an interesting aspect of interactions, which allows you to see what that country has. It gives you a report. You can see the progression at the top right here, and also you get the top right, you'll get the events, world events as well. I did it on Iceland because Canada was already done. And basically go into here, press on the flag, and you go into here, espionage missions, and you press on the country which you espionaged, and here it shows you all the relevant information about the military, about the technology and legacy points, atomic bombs, loans, and all the relevant information which you would need. And that is pretty much it. Let's declare war on Canada, convert them, and this is pretty much the end of the game. You have learned everything what is needed, and the only technicality is that it needs to be done all while playing the game for real. Thank you for watching. If I missed something, please include that in the comments. I will pin them, and I would be happy to see and read your feedback. I do read every single comment, and thank you for 300 subscribers.